When you see a huge cybercrime in the news, that's really just the beginning of the story. The real action, it's what happens next, behind the scenes. So let's dive in and follow those digital breadcrumbs to see how the bad guys actually get caught. Okay, so this right here, this is the one rule to rule them all in digital forensics. Every single thing you do online, every click, every login, every message, it leaves a little trace behind. It might be tiny, almost invisible, but it's there. And for an investigator, that one tiny trace is all they need to start pulling on the thread.
So forget what you see on TV with the police tape and chalk outlines. A modern crime scene, it's not a place at all. It's a trail of data that's scattered all over the place, on servers, on your phone, in the cloud. I mean, we're talking about data that can be in multiple countries at once. You can't just bag it up as evidence. It's just ones and zeros. So to even begin to tackle this, you've got to have a very specific step-by-step game plan.
And this is that playbook. It's a core four-step process every single time. First up, you've got collection. This is super critical. They have to make a perfect bit-for-bit copy of the data without changing anything. Then, examination. Think of this as the high-tech deep dive, looking for deleted files, hidden stuff, anything that's been covered up. After that comes analysis. This is where they start connecting the dots, piecing all those clues together to build a timeline of what actually happened. And finally, reporting. You got to document everything with extreme detail because if it's not documented perfectly, it's useless in court. It's an incredibly disciplined process. All right, so to actually follow that trail through the digital maze, investigators have a pretty amazing high-tech toolkit. And believe me, we're talking way beyond just plugging in a hard drive and seeing what's on it.
What's really wild is just how specialized this field has become. You've got cloud forensics, for when data is scattered across servers all over the globe. Then there's IoT and vehicle forensics, pulling data from your smartwatch or even your car. Memory forensics is wild. It's for grabbing evidence that literally vanishes the second you turn a computer off. And of course, they're using AI and machine learning to find patterns in huge amounts of data, and even blockchain forensics to trace crypto payments. It's a whole new world.
And that IoT stuff, it's a total game changer. I mean, think about it. Your smartwatch or fitness tracker can end up being a star witness in a case. There have been actual homicide cases where the data from a fitness tracker blew an alibi wide open by showing exactly where someone was and when. That little device on your wrist, it's logging everything. And in an investigation, that data can tell a whole story. Okay, now this is a really cool and absolutely critical technique. See, some of the juiciest evidence like encryption keys, passwords, or where a hacker is logged in from, it only exists in the computer's active memory, the RAM. The second you shut that computer down, poof, it's gone forever. So live analysis is like performing digital surgery on a machine that's still running. You have to go in and grab that data before it disappears into thin air. So with all this incredible tech, you'd think catching these criminals would be a walk in the park, right? Well, not so fast. I mean, what happens when the trail just goes cold? What if the criminals are using crazy strong encryption or hiding behind anonymous networks? The truth is, sometimes the digital breadcrumbs just run out. And that's when investigators have to shift gears and look beyond the keyboard. And this is where things get really, really interesting. When the technology hits a wall, the investigation pivots. They stop focusing on the data and start focusing on the human behind it. Because understanding why someone does something is often just as important as knowing how they did it. And yeah, as you can see, for most of them, like a huge majority, it's all about the money. But you've also got people in it for the thrill, for revenge, or even for ideological reasons. Building this kind of psychological profile is key because it helps investigators guess what a suspect might do next, and maybe even predict where they're going to slip up. So this really breaks down into two different kinds of intelligence gathering. You've got techint, or technical intelligence. That's all the stuff we've been talking about, analyzing the malware, the network logs, the data. But then you have humant, or human intelligence, and this is basically old-school spy work, just adapted for the internet. It's all about going undercover in criminal forums, building trust, and getting intel straight from the source, from people. And here's a perfect, real-world example of that. A threat analyst named John DiMaggio basically created a fake online persona and spent months, literally months, becoming friends with the leaders of a major ransomware group. He wasn't hacking them. He was just talking to them, gaining their trust. He learned their plans, who they were, everything. And the intel he gathered was absolutely crucial for law enforcement to eventually dismantle their whole network. It's super risky, but wow, can it be effective? And that kind of human intelligence is just one part of a bigger social toolkit. We're talking about using psychological profiling to figure out a target's patterns, maybe even using catfishing, pretending to be someone else, to bait a suspect into making a mistake. It's pretty wild. They're basically taking the criminals' favorite tricks, like social engineering, and using them right back against them. Okay, so the investigators have the high-tech tools, and they've got the human spycraft. Sounds like they're all set, right? Well, there's one more massive hurdle that can stop an investigation dead in its tracks: the real world. And this is probably the biggest headache for any modern cybercrime investigator. A hacker can be in one country, bounce their signal through another, attack a server in a third, and steal from a company in a fourth. The crime is global, but the laws? The laws are local. Every country has its own rules, and that makes things complicated. So how do you get evidence from another country legally? You have to go through something called a Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty, or MLAT. And let me tell you, it is a formal, often painfully slow, bureaucratic process. You have to draft this incredibly detailed legal request, send it up through official government channels, and then wait and coordinate with the other country. It's absolutely essential for these big international cases, but man, does it require a ton of patience. And then, on top of all that, you have the ethical questions, right? I mean, when you're pretending to be someone's friend online just to gather intel, where's the line? Investigators are always walking this tightrope, balancing the need to catch the bad guys against their own legal and ethical rules. It's a constant judgment call. Okay, so let's pull all this together. After seeing all the different pieces of the puzzle, what's the big takeaway here? I think the most important thing to remember is that a modern cyber investigation is never just about one thing. It's this powerful combination of three different toolkits all working together. You need the digital tools to follow the data trail, the human skills to get inside the criminal's head, and the procedural know-how to navigate the messy legal world. You take away any one of those, and the whole thing can fall apart. And what's fascinating is that even as the technology completely changes, the fundamental principle stays exactly the same. I mean, decades ago, it was metadata on a floppy disk that caught the BTK killer because he just got a little sloppy. Today, it's an undercover analyst exploiting a hacker's ego on a secret forum. The tools change, but the idea is the same. Every digital action has a real-world consequence. And that kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. We've just seen how investigators can piece together an entire story from these tiny digital traces someone leaves behind. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? Every single day, we're all leaving thousands of our own digital breadcrumbs. So, if every click leaves a trace, what story does your footprint tell?